your chest. The snow falls gently at first, a soft powder dusting the earth, but then the wind picks up, howling through the frozen wilderness like an ancient beast. It's a place where silence swallows you whole. The road is miles away, and the last faint trace of humanity is a forgotten tire track, slowly being overtaken by the endless storm. A dog waits there alone in the snow, its fur clumped with ice, body trembling but eyes sharp, refusing to close. The snow isn't soft anymore. It's thick, heavy, each flake weighing the air down, each step deeper, harder. Days have passed, 3, maybe 4. It's the kind of cold that gets into your bones, the kind that makes your breath catch in. The dog isn't counting, it's only waiting. She's a golden retriever, or at least she was once. Her collar, now barely hanging from a frayed piece of fabric, had been bright red. But the red is lost in the snow now, swallowed by the white. The scent of a distant fire mixes with the cold, and she remembers something, a house, a warm hearth. Maybe it was just a dream, but she knows this moment isn't. This moment is real. The pain in her paws is real. Her stomach, hollow and aching, is real. There's no food here, no shelter, no warmth. She thinks of the people who must have left her behind, abandoning her to a fate that feels worse than death. And yet the spark in her eyes remains. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's desperation. But one thing is clear, the wait isn't over, and soon someone will come. They always do. The snow is a blanket that covers everything, trees, rocks, the ground beneath, and every trace of life. But not the dog. She's a flash of gold against the endless white, standing still, her paws sinking deeper with every hesitant step. Her fur is damp with snow, matted with ice, and her chest heaves as she breathes in the cold air. There's a sharp sting in her throat, an ache that won't go away, and her stomach growls, hollow and empty. She's been here for days, but time doesn't matter now. Time is a luxury she can no longer afford. The wind bites at her ears, and the snowflakes are sharp needles against her skin. Her red collar, barely holding together now, flaps weakly in the wind, the last sign of a life that is fading. Her collar, her name, her past. Her mind flashes back, but it's all fragments: a warm kitchen, a soft voice, a door slamming. Someone left her here, abandoned her in the snow. She doesn't understand why. The snow is deep now, and her legs are tired. Every movement feels like dragging weight through cement. The world feels muffled, as if the snow is swallowing everything. Sound, life, hope. She sits for a moment, just for a second, to gather her thoughts, but it's cold and she's weak. She has no choice but to move again. So, she does. The wind howls louder now, and she presses on one step at a time, not knowing if she's walking toward anything but more cold. A shadow flickers in the distance. A man. She hesitates, but only for a moment. She's too tired to be afraid. He's just a figure in the storm, like the trees, like the rocks. He's not real. He's just a dream. The storm doesn't let up. It never does. Not here. Not in this wilderness where even the sound of your own breath feels distant. But the man, he's real. He stumbles, falters, his breath shallow and labored, as if the cold itself is fighting him. His jacket is torn, the fabric clinging to his frame like it's already given up. The dog watches him for a moment, her eyes tracking his every move. And something stirs inside her chest. A flicker of recognition, maybe just an instinct. She knows what it's like to be lost, to be alone. He knows it too. They meet in the middle of the storm, the snow swirling around them like an impenetrable wall. The man crouches, his gloved hand reaching for her. His touch is cautious, unsure, but there's kindness in it. She stands frozen, uncertain. Could he be another person who will leave her behind? Or could he be something else? Someone who might take her away from this endless cold. He murmurs something. His voice is rough, but it sounds like a promise. It's okay, girl, you're not alone. And for the first time in days, she feels something stir in her chest, something other than hunger or pain. She watches him, and in his eyes, she sees it, a flicker of warmth, a small promise. She steps forward, hesitant but willing. The bond is formed in silence, in the unspoken understanding of shared suffering. Time bends in the snow, and each day feels like an eternity. The man and the dog survive together. They share warmth, shelter, and food meager, but enough. He's used to the cold, it's in his bones, something he's been taught to endure. She's used to warmth, to comfort. But together, they make it work. There's a rhythm to their survival. His every move deliberate. hers instinctual, the two of them moving through the world like a single broken being. But the cold doesn't care about their bond. It's ruthless, relentless, and just when it feels like they've found a rhythm, disaster strikes. The man stumbles, his breath shallow, his knees buckling. She watches him fall, a sound like thunder in the stillness of the snow. He's collapsed, his body succumbing to the cold. She stands over him, trembling, her heart racing. She licks his face, her tail wagging weakly, but he doesn't respond. Panic grips her chest, but she doesn't leave him. Not this time. She pushes her muzzle against his chest, nudging him. But it's no use. She whines a sharp, desperate sound, and then, with all the strength she has left, she drags him. Each movement is agony. The snow is deeper here, the wind harsher. Her paws are raw, bleeding from the cold, but she doesn't stop. She can't stop. She drags him through the snow, one slow, painful step at a time. The wind is unforgiving, but the dog refuses to give up. Her body is failing her, but her spirit, her will, pushes her forward. Every ounce of strength is spent dragging the man, her heart pounding with fear and determination. The storm is relentless, each gust tearing at her fur, but she doesn't stop. She won't. The man is still unconscious, his body heavy and lifeless, but her movements are precise, each tug of her body desperate. Her paws slip in the snow, and she stumbles, but she never lets go. It's hours, or maybe it's days. She can't tell anymore. Her world is a blur of snow and pain, but then light. A shape appears in the distance, faint at first, but growing clearer. A search party. They're here. The dog's heart leaps in her chest, but the fight isn't over. She pushes forward, her body screaming, but there's the light. There's hope. The search party reaches them just as the dog's strength gives out. Her body collapses in the snow, and the world fades to black. But before she succumbs to the darkness, she hears voices, soft, gentle voices. They're here, they're real, and in the warmth of their hands, in the safety of their shelter, she feels it, the end of the wait. The man stirs beside her, his breath shallow but steady. He's alive. And so is she. The dog feels the warmth before she sees it. A light glowing faintly through her closed eyelids, a warmth that wraps around her like a blanket. Her fur is still cold, the remnants of ice clinging to her, but this warmth is different. It's real. And then slowly she opens her eyes. The snow is gone, replaced by soft blankets, the scent of medicine, and the low hum of machines. The storm is past, and with it her battle. Beside her the man stirs. His face is pale, his features gaunt, but there's life there. The quiet beeping of the heart monitor is a sound she's never known, but now it's a song she recognizes. Her body is heavy, but she raises her head, her eyes meeting his. He blinks, his vision blurry, and then his lips twitch upward in a smile. It's weak, but it's a smile. "You did it," he whispers, his voice cracked and raw. She doesn't respond, but her tail gives a small, exhausted wag. There's a bond now, something deeper than survival, something that can't be broken by the storm or the cold or even death itself. It's a bond forged in the snow, in the shared struggle, the mutual fight to live. The man reaches out, his hand trembling as he rests it gently on her fur. His touch is warm, comforting. She leans into it, allowing herself the comfort she had denied herself for so long. They are both safe now, alive. And for the first time in days, maybe even weeks, she feels her heart slow, her breath steady. But even as she rests, the memories of the storm, the desperation, the cold, flicker through her mind. She can still hear the wind howling, feel the ice cutting into her paws, see the endless expanse of white around her. But now, those memories are softer, distant, like a storm that has passed. The room is quiet now, save for the steady hum of the machines and the soft breathing of the man beside her. She watches him, her eyes following the rise and fall of his chest, and in this moment, she realizes something. It wasn't just her that needed saving. It was him too. They had saved each other in that snowstorm in the most unlikely of ways. A soft knock on the door breaks the stillness, and a nurse enters with a gentle smile. "You're awake," she says, her voice calm and soothing. "And so is your friend." The man looks at the nurse, then back at the dog, his face softening with gratitude. "I don't know how to thank you," he says, his voice thick with emotion. The nurse just smiles. "You don't need to," she replies. "Sometimes it's enough just to survive." The man turns to the dog, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We made it," he whispers, almost to himself. The dog meets his gaze, her eyes tired but resolute. Yes, they had made it. Outside the window, the world is quiet again. The storm has passed, and the snow is nothing but a memory. The trees sway gently in the breeze, the sky a soft blue, and the sunlight begins to filter through the curtains. It's a new day, a new beginning. The dog closes her eyes, resting her head on the bed beside the man. The fight is over, but the journey is far from finished. There are still steps to take, still moments to share. And in the quiet of this hospital room, in the warmth of the sun that breaks through the cold, she knows one thing for certain: she will never be abandoned again. The man and the dog, two souls forever bound by the storm, find peace in the simple act of surviving. The long wait, the heartache, the struggle, they are all part of the past now. Together, they have found something worth holding on to. And as the sun sets, casting a golden light over the room, the dog feels the warmth of a new beginning. A beginning that, this time, won't be taken away. Days pass, but the memory of the snowstorm still clings to them both. Each morning, as the sunlight filters through the hospital curtains, the man wakes and turns his gaze to the golden retriever by his side, a reminder of everything they've been through. The dog has grown stronger with each passing day, though the weariness never fully leaves her eyes. They both carry the weight of the storm, his body aching with the remnants of exhaustion, hers with the pain of survival. The nurses call her miracled, and she doesn't mind. It's not about the name, but the way they look at her, like she's something extraordinary, something rare. But to the man, she's not just a miracle. She's the reason he's alive. He knows it in the marrow of his bones. The doctors tell him he was close, too close to death, but he knows the truth. It was her determination, her will to keep going, that pulled him from the brink. He's still recovering, still weak, but every day he walks a little farther, his steps shaky but growing stronger. The dog walks beside him, her gait steady now, no longer the slow, limp movements of a creature at the end of her strength. They walk the hospital hallways together, the sound of their footsteps echoing through the quiet spaces, and there's something almost poetic in it. Two survivors, bound by a storm neither ever expected, finding their way back to life side by side. One afternoon, after he's been cleared to leave, the man sits by the window, his hands resting in his lap, staring out at the world that seems so vast, so open now. The dog lies beside him, her head resting on her paws, watching him with quiet understanding. He can't help but think of how fragile life is, how easily it can all be swept away by forces beyond our control. But here they are, both alive, both saved in ways neither of them fully understands. He reaches down, his fingers brushing the soft fur of her head. She nuzzles his hand, the bond between them unspoken but undeniable. It's a bond forged in the harshest of circumstances, one that goes beyond gratitude. It's trust. It's love. It's survival. "You're not alone anymore," he whispers, his voice thick with emotion. Neither of us is. The dog's ears twitch, her tail giving a slow, contented wag. She's been waiting for this, waiting for the moment when they could both finally rest, and now, here it is. They're free of the snow, free of the cold, but what lies ahead is unknown. There are still steps to take, still challenges to face, but together they will face them. Together they will keep going. The man stands up, his legs steady now, and the dog follows him, her movements graceful and strong. They leave the hospital room together, stepping out into the world that seems both unfamiliar and welcoming. The air is warm, the sun shining brightly overhead. For the first time in what feels like forever, they're not running from the cold. They're walking toward something new, toward life. As they walk out into the open air, the world stretches out before them, vast and full of possibility. The road ahead is uncertain, but it's theirs to travel side by side. The dog looks up at him, her eyes steady, her heart full. There's a quiet promise in that gaze, a promise that no matter what the future holds, they'll face it together. And as the sun begins to dip below the horizon, casting a golden light over the landscape, the man takes a deep breath. The weight of the storm has finally lifted, and in its place is a new beginning. Together, they move forward, step by step, toward a future that is no longer defined by what they've lost, but by what they've found. And with each step, they know that the bond they share is unbreakable, a bond that will carry them through whatever comes next. The dog looks up at him once more, and in her eyes, he sees something beautiful, the promise of tomorrow. And it is enough. The weeks that follow feel like a quiet kind of miracle. The days stretch out before them in a way that feels almost unreal, as if they're living in a story that hasn't quite caught up with them. The man spends his time recovering, slowly, deliberately, his body regaining the strength he thought he had lost forever. But it's not just his body that's healing. It's his soul, too. The deep isolation of the wilderness, the fight for survival, has left a mark on him, one that no doctor's prescription or physical therapy can cure. But the dog, she's been a salve for him, a quiet companion who's always just a little ahead, just a little more certain. They're a pair now, inseparable, learning the rhythm of this new life together. There's a peace between them that wasn't there before, something unspoken but deeply felt. The man, whose name now feels more like an afterthought, sometimes smiles at the dog when no one's around. He lets himself feel this moment of stillness, knowing that it could easily be swept away, but for now it's theirs. They take long walks through the neighborhood now, the dog's tail wagging with each step. The people who pass by smile at them, some nodding in recognition, some offering a soft word of encouragement. The dog's golden coat is no longer dulled by ice and snow. It shines in the sunlight, and she walks with a proud, steady gait. She's been reborn, and in a way so has he. They've both been given a second chance, but neither of them takes it for granted. Every step is a reminder of the fragility of life, of how quickly things can change. And yet, there's something deeply powerful in that, something that fills them with a quiet, steady joy. They don't talk about the storm much anymore. The man doesn't need to. He can feel the storm every time he looks at the dog, every time he watches her settle beside him, her body calm, her eyes alert, as if she's still waiting for the world to shift again. But in her stillness, he sees her healing, sees the trust she has placed in him, and it grounds him in a way he didn't know he needed. There's one afternoon when they sit together on a park bench, the wind soft against their skin, the dog lying at his feet. The man watches the sunset, the sky turning shades of orange and pink, the clouds tinged with violet. It's beautiful, something he might have missed before, lost in the fog of pain and survival. But now it feels like a gift. It feels like a moment he can hold on to, something solid and real. Remember when we thought we wouldn't make it? The man murmurs to the dog, his voice almost a whisper. She looks up at him, her head tilting slightly, her eyes steady, unblinking. There's no need for words between them. She knows what he's saying. She remembers she was there. "I guess we were wrong," he says, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. The dog's tail gives a soft thump against the bench, the only sound that breaks the silence. And in that silence, the man understands something. The storm, the snow, the days spent struggling to survive, they're all behind them now. They've faced the worst of it, and come through it together. And though they might never forget what they've been through, they no longer live in its shadow. They've found their way to this moment, this quiet, ordinary moment, and that's enough. The dog rises slowly from her resting place, her legs stretching gracefully as she stands. She looks at him, and for a second, their gazes lock. There's a knowing in her eyes, a quiet wisdom that has come from surviving the unspeakable. The man stands too, taking her lead, and together they walk away from the bench. The world around them is calm, the sun dipping lower on the horizon, casting long shadows over the ground. It's a new beginning, and for once, it's not defined by the fear of what might happen next, but by the certainty that whatever comes, they will face it together. As they walk side by side, the dog by his heel, he feels something inside him settle, a deep peace that he didn't think he would ever find. The storm has passed, and it's clear now. The journey is far from over, but they've already come so far. And for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, the man breathes deeply, knowing that he doesn't have to fight anymore. Not alone. Not ever again. The dog's pace is steady, her eyes forward, and as they walk into the fading light, the world around them seems to open up, quiet, peaceful, and full of possibility. The storm is past, and now they have each other. And that is enough. The weeks blur into a slow rhythm, and life begins to settle into a new kind of normal. The man's body strengthens, his scars fading with time, But the emotional weight of the storm never really lifts. It's a quiet understanding between them now, unspoken yet tangible. There are things they've both seen that no one else will ever fully understand. But it's okay, because they don't need to explain it to anyone. The dog, still by his side, still watches over him with a patient, knowing gaze. Every glance she gives him is a reminder of the days they spent fighting, surviving. She saved him, but in a way, she gave him the will to keep going. And that's something he can never repay. There's a comfort in the ordinary. The walks around the neighborhood are no longer about survival. They're about enjoying the small moments. The rustling of leaves in the wind, the scent of freshly cut grass, the warmth of the sun on their skin. The dog still walks with purpose, but now there's a gentleness to it. Her tail wags freely as they stroll down familiar streets. The man laughs more now, a soft, real laugh, one that comes from a place deep within, one that feels earned. One afternoon, they sit in a small park near their new home, a patch of green where the grass grows thick and wild. The dog lies at his feet, her head resting against his leg. The man leans back on the park bench, closing his eyes for a moment, feeling the gentle heat of the sun on his face. There's a quiet hum in the air, the rustle of leaves, the distant sound of children laughing, the occasional chirp of birds. For once, everything feels still, peaceful. "Do you remember the snow?" he asks softly, almost to himself. The dog lifts her head, her ears perked, and looks at him. Her gaze is steady, full of that quiet wisdom she carries. She remembers. Of course she does. "Yeah, I remember too," he says with a slight smile. "But we don't need to think about that anymore, do we?" The dog's tail gives a lazy thump against the grass. No, they don't. They've come too far, survived too much. The snow is a memory now, distant and soft like a fog lifting after a long, cold night. The man has made peace with it, and so has she. But the dog isn't done with him yet. She's always watching. There's a softness in her eyes, an understanding that's hard to explain. She's the reason he found his way out of that snowstorm. She's the reason he found his way back to life. And now, every moment they share, every quiet walk, every shared breath, is a reminder of that bond. The man reaches down, his hand resting gently on her head, his fingers threading through the soft fur. It's a simple touch, but it means everything. She leans into it, her body warm, her presence steady. They've been through the worst together. And now, they'll face whatever comes next, side by side. The world around them continues on, but here, in this small corner of the world, they've found a peace that feels almost sacred. The storm is gone, and the sun is setting, casting long shadows over the park. It's a quiet, ordinary evening, but it's their evening. It's a moment just for them. As the man watches the sky change color, the soft pinks and oranges melting into the cool blues of twilight, he realizes something. The storm may have taken everything from him. His hope, his strength, his sense of self, but it also gave him something he never expected. It gave him this llama, this life, this dog. The bond between them is unbreakable. In the moments when he's quiet, when the world feels too loud, too full of chaos, he just looks down at the dog. She's there. She's always there, steady and constant, reminding him that everything they've been through, every hardship, every loss, has led them to this. The man and the dog don't speak as the evening falls, but they don't need to. They're more than words. They are each other's strength, each other's reminder that life, no matter how brutal or uncertain, can always surprise you. Even in the darkest of times, even in the coldest of storms, there's hope, there's warmth. And sometimes when you least expect it, there's love. The man feels his heart settle, the weight lifting, and he knows, deep in his bones, that they've made it. They're both alive, both free. And that's all that matters. The dog looks up at him one last time as the sun dips below the horizon. And in that moment, in the quiet, golden glow of the evening, he knows they'll always have each other. For the storm is over, and the wait is finally truly over. The seasons shift, as they always do, but the world they've come to know together feels unchanged. Time moves on, dawn and dusk, sun and rain, the soft turning of the earth beneath their feet. The man and the dog, though, are different. They've both been transformed by the storm, by the wildness of survival, by the lessons that came not from words but from silence. The days no longer feel like a struggle. They are a gift, one that neither of them takes for granted. They explore the world around them, the man's footsteps a little surer, the dog's energy boundless as always. Their bond is something no one can fully understand, not even the people they meet in the park or the neighbors who wave as they walk by. It's a quiet connection that runs deep, like an invisible thread that ties them together, unspoken but always there. The park, now a familiar refuge, becomes a place where the man can reflect. It's where he first started to heal, sitting at his same bench, leaning against the backrest, feeling the warmth of the dog at his side. It's become their place. The trees seem to bend around them, offering shelter, and the breeze that brushes through the leaves always carries a reminder of something sacred, something hard-earned. One afternoon, the dog is chasing a stick across the grass, her legs stretching gracefully through the air, her tail wagging like it always does when she's at her happiest. The man watches her with a smile, but it's a different kind of smile now. There's no trace of the hollow ache he once carried. No more heavy thoughts that drag him under. Watching the dog so full of life, so full of joy, reminds him that there's still beauty in the world. There's still reason to keep going, to keep living. His heart swells with something close to awe. She was his anchor when the world felt too vast, too cold. She had given him the strength to keep moving when he was sure he couldn't go on. And now she runs, free, wild, without the weight of the storm holding her back. But it's not just the dog who has healed, it's the man too. He's learned to let go of the guilt that once consumed him, the guilt of being alive when so many others had been lost. He's learned that survival isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to cherish. It's something that gives you the power to move forward, to grow, to find new meaning in the things that seem small but are, in truth, everything. The way the light falls across the grass, the scent of the earth after a rainstorm, the warmth of the dog's fur when she curls up beside him at night. These are the moments that matter now. The man often thinks about the storm. He thinks about the fear, the desperation, the dark hours where he wasn't sure he would make it. But he doesn't let those thoughts own him anymore. The storm was a chapter, a painful, impossible chapter, but it's not the whole story. It's just one part of a much larger narrative. The story of survival, the story of recovery, the story of a bond that can never be broken. And then one quiet evening, as the sun begins to set, painting the sky in deep reds and purples, the man and the dog sit together on that same bench. They don't say anything. There's no need. The air is cool, the first crisp bite of autumn creeping in. The dog leans her head against his leg, her warm body resting in peaceful contentment. He runs his fingers through her fur, and the world seems to still. There is nothing but this moment, this fleeting moment that feels timeless. The man takes a deep breath, letting the cool air fill his lungs, and for the first time in a long while, he feels something settle inside him, a quiet peace that comes from knowing that the worst is behind them, that they've made it through. And more than that, they've thrived. Together, they found their way out of the darkness and into the light. As the dog's tail gives a slow thump on the bench, he chuckles softly. "We did it, didn't we?" he says to her, his voice filled with a gentle affection. She looks up at him, her brown eyes steady and wise, as if she's always known the answer. Her tail wags again, and he smiles. They don't need to speak anymore. Their bond says it all. The night settles in around them, the stars beginning to twinkle in the sky above. And in this quiet, ordinary moment so simple, so full of meaning, the man feels a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for life, for the dog, for the unexpected way they found each other in the most unimaginable of circumstances. And as the world around them sleeps, the man and the dog remain, side by side, steady and strong. They've walked through the storm together, and now they walk into the future together. And it's enough. In this moment, as the night wraps them in its cool embrace, the man knows that the wait is over, and what comes next will be just another part of their journey, a journey they'll take, together. The days pass, and life continues to unfold in its quiet, steady rhythm. The man, now fully healed in body and spirit, walks beside the dog through each new chapter they write together. The world outside their small corner is vast and full of uncertainty, but for them, there's a simple truth. They've already faced the impossible and come out the other side. On the rare occasions when the man sits alone, his mind drifts back to the snowstorm, the cold, the loneliness, the moments of despair. But with each passing day, those memories become more distant, like a dream fading as dawn breaks. What remains is the bond they share, the bond that saved them both from the depths of that storm. The dog, now a constant, steady presence, is no longer just a reminder of what they lost, but a testament to what they've found. The sun begins to set, the sky a soft wash of pink and orange, and they stand side by side once more. The dog's head rests against his leg, her body warm against the evening chill. The man watches the horizon, and for a moment, he feels the weight of the world lift, just a little. They've come through so much, together. And in this moment, he understands the greatest truth of all survival is not just about enduring the storm. It's about what you find when the storm finally ends. And as the light fades from the sky and the stars begin to shimmer in the cool night air, the man feels a deep, quiet peace. The storm is over. The waiting is over. And now, as the world quiets around them, the journey they've shared has brought them to something beautiful, something lasting. Together, they've learned the value of life, the power of resilience, and the beauty in the small, fleeting moments that make it all worth it. The future is unknown, but as long as they have each other, it will be enough. In the silence of that peaceful evening, with the dog by his side and the world stretching endlessly ahead, the man knows this is only the beginning of their story. And for the first time, he truly believes that whatever comes next, they'll face it together. Because together, they've already conquered the impossible. The storm is over, and now they can finally rest.